for this group, and I'm not, Melissa's back! Woohoo! Anyway, we have a listserv for this group, and so if you'd like to be added to it, I'm not obnoxious by cluttering up. And Megan! Hi, Megan! The advantage of teaching at the U is like I get to see all of these wonderful students that I've had in the past, and former people who have joined us on our Friday meetings. Welcome, Megan. So if you guys will put your email addresses in the listserv, then any updates and that sort of thing. So if you could put that in chat, that would be great. So Britta, as being kind of new to us, and Abby too, is there anything this wonderful group of amazing Wonder Women can do to support you today?
Honestly, last week helped a lot, and I feel like this week my classes went more smoothly, and I was able to fill the time a little bit better. Better conversations. So I felt a lot better this week than I did last week.
I don't know, I'm still kind of, keeping track of everything. You meet so many people that from class to class to class, 'cause it's hard to remember and have time to write that stuff down. So I feel like I just need to find my groove there, but I think it's so far so good.
Actually, that brings up a really interesting question about how, because I do this too with my undergraduate students, because it's very important for me to learn names and pronounce names accurately and all of that. So how do you all do that with especially you've got new classes, you've got multiple classes, you're in different spaces, you're online, you're in person. So I'll just throw it out. How do you learn the names of your learners? Anyone? Oh, I need to mention too, before you begin, it's our routine that there she is. Hi, Melissa. It is our routine that we tape, that we record, and then I share. And like last week's, gosh, I think we had about 9 or 10 people. And Becca, I have to tell you that somehow YouTube just froze on your face. So you have a big smile. You have a big smile on your face, and it is so welcoming. So yes, you just never know when you upload a video. Okay, so anyway, so that's out of the way. We're being recorded, just so you know. So, swear under your own peril. So anyway, so back to my question. How do you learn the names of parents and children in your classes?
I was going to say that after the first week, so it's week 2 and beyond, when they come, I'll tell them the first week that my goal is to learn all of their names and in the way that they say them. And I let them know that we point out where their name tags are going to be. They're in a little thing that hangs on the wall outside the classroom door. So there are name tags, but I let them know that in the future they'll take them on their own, but my goal is to know their names. And so I actually hold them all, and I give them to them when they arrive, and I tell them, if I can't find your name tag on week 2, or I didn't know for sure, if I had a question, that I'm kind of pushing myself to make sure that I know that by week 3. And so that's just one kind of game that I feel like I play with myself, to challenge myself to be able to give out those name tags. And then they have them in the PE room too, like table tents. And in the past, I gave those to them too, but I feel like this way it's the parents and the kids. But that's one thing that I've done.
In 196, I saw, this is for preschool, but I saw a teacher during the meet and greets do something I've never seen. I thought it was brilliant. She invited the parent during the meeting time with the parent to say the child's name a couple of times into just a voice memo recording. I think she did that for adult names too. And if she didn't, I think that might be a great addition. That's not ECFE, so it's not quite as, consistently interacting with parents, but of course, always good to know those pronunciations as well. So that's one tool that I thought was really smart. And then also in 196, where I'm new this year, we are expected to and given time to meet before and after briefly and go through who was there and what's going on with them. And that's not something I'm familiar with. And it's so helpful to talk again quickly, like immediately, about who was there, what's going on with each dyad, and just kind of imprint. And we do that before before the next class, we pull out those notes. And it's an expectation. So it's a norm in the building that everybody is meeting like 10 minutes before. You're setting up your room and then you're making time for that, to sit and talk and prep together collectively, which is so helpful. I think just, when we talk about stuff, it makes it easier to remember as well. So those are two things.
I'm going to be super honest with everyone right now and share that I am horrible with names. Like, I am so bad at remembering names. Even in my regular life, I'm talking about the people I work with all the time, and I end up pausing because I can't remember the person's name that I work with every day. And so I'm very honest with parents right off the bat and tell them that I'm really bad with names, and that my priority is actually to learn their kids' names because they're the ones that I actually, if something dangerous is happening, I want to be able to say their name right away. So I tell them that the kids are actually my first one that I try to lock in. And I think I started in early childhood rather than parent ed. So I think that that's part of what's built into me too, is it's really important that I learn the kids' names. And I know how important it is to know the adult names too. And yet my brain just does not lock them in very well. So I actually just ask parents to always wear their name tags. And then, like, with that pronunciation, I ask them, and if they tell it to me a couple of times, the visual reminder of seeing their name is enough to link it back in again. I ask them to wear their name tags the whole time. That way, if I have that little brain fart, it's already built in. So
our clerical person who does all the name tags for the kids, it's the child's name, and then in parentheses below is the parent's name. So I, like Melissa, I've been a parent ed for 6 years and I still struggle sometimes to get parents' names. So I learn the child's name first. I learn the parent's name second, because that's just the way that my brain works. And so but it's also so nice for parent-child interaction time in the beginning of class when I have the parent underneath the child's name. So while the child's crawling around and I want to address the parent, I'm like, what's your parent's name again? That's it. Perfect. And then, as Nikki said, we have, name tents too in the parent ed room. So I can quickly look at the name tent. Every once in a while I challenge myself and I don't bring the tents out, but I think the tents are sometimes just helpful even for our other parents to learn each other's names too.
I'd love to hear more about what everybody does in terms of name tags, because that's something that is either not done at all or done very inconsistently in Maplewood. So like the first week or two, we either have a Sharpie and masking tape, or I bring like return address labels, like stickers for people to write on. And because we don't continue doing that, it's usually the first week or so. And often we have people joining later. We do the table tents, so that helps enormously in parenting time. But I really try to, for me, saying out loud helps it imprint on my mind. So I try to, a number of our classes start out on the playground, and as families are coming in, say, hi, Janet, hi, Liam, and like, am I making the right connection? And, but I'm not great at names either, Melissa. So I have the same struggle, and it's just like, hi. And I just say, how was your week? And it's like, yep, I did not put a name in there. And especially since we're starting out on the playground, like how to maybe do the the name tag piece with that. I would love to improve that for myself.
We have
I-
it.
Go ahead.
Since I'm right here, I was going to just show you. We have our name tags right in our entryway. This is where they come in and put everything into the cubbies and whatnot. And so they're hanging here every day. We have to more often remind them to take them off as they leave rather than have to put them on. And we have just regular pieces of paper in here that then they have a repeat one. And if we have more than this many, we put a different person's name on the back. And they can just use the same name tag. And then we use sticker name tags on the back of the kids' shirts. So that's our process.
I was going to say I feel fortunate because we too, like in Robin, still have our clerical person who's creating the name tags, and they go into a little sleeve, like a plastic sleeve that has a clip that they clip on, the parent and the child. And both names are on the tag, the parent name and the child name. But what I appreciate in addition is that on the back of those tags, it actually tells you, if you turn it over, which class they're in and which classroom numbers. So if like in a situation that we all hope never happens, a child is like in the hallway and we do not know, or like unattended, and you did not know like who is this child, anyone could take the name tag and return them to the room where they belong because they're labeled.
Sarah mentioned just using a clipboard out on the playground. And I think that might be a really simple fix for me that would be helpful. When I was in St. Paul as a mom, we didn't always have to make name tags for the grownups. Kind of once we were knowing each other, we didn't as much, but our early childhood teacher had even the youngest kids like write your name. So, and mom would have to help the really little ones, but by preschool, they were like working on a very messy writing at least a letter out of their own name, just masking tape to stick on. So it was like a writing practice and a responsibility taking practice as well. But I like the idea of at least having tape and a Sharpie out on the playground.
And Becca, since you're starting on the playground, we have one class like that. It's a good way to kind of take attendance as well. If you write all the names and have them ready, and then if there's a piece of tape that is unclaimed, then you know that family's not there, or they're somewhere you haven't found them yet.
I love it. Thank you.
And I put this in the chat. For me, I think it takes 3 weeks to have any kind of automaticity about like who's who and who's goes with which kid and which mom is that mom. Oh, that mom. That's right. You know, it takes 3 weeks.
Do you learn the dad's names first, sooner? Like I do. I'm just asking because in my classes, especially teaching about families, of course, the ratio of women to men is about 9-to-1. So the men are always the easiest ones to learn first because I have fewer of them. So it's just like, you know, Joe, Bob, you know, and is that the same way for you guys with fathers? No.
But definitely kids. I don't know why, but like I have the kids' names.
Yep.
With the exception of in one of my classes, I have 2 little Corinne girls who are the exact same size and have the same haircut, and they're so cute. And I can barely tell them apart. They're totally from different families, and I really struggle with their 2 names getting them to the right child. So I need the name tags. That's just in one of my classes, but I got the kid name down otherwise. But remembering mom's name or dad's name is sometimes hard. And it's harder in my classes where I have more people. And it's been harder this year because I have twice as many classes as I had last year. So just the sheer number being different has made it harder.
I think I have a really hard time when somebody reminds me of a past child or a past parent or something, and I want to call them that name instead, or even beyond that, sometimes for some people, I'm just like, you're a Susan though. Your name isn't Susan, really? Because it feels like you should be a Susan to me. Sorry, Susan, I'm using your name, but I struggle with that too. I don't know. Names just are not I'm not great with it.
I'm also really honest too with parents. And I will say, if I say your name incorrectly, if I call you by the wrong name, can you please correct me? Because I want to learn and I don't want to be disrespectful. And so I will just be upfront and honest with them right away and say, please call me out on it. Because I'm going to feel worse if I'd call you the wrong name like 4 times or all day or half the semester.
Or you get into the wrong name and it becomes forever. I don't know if any of you watch Parks and Rec, but like,
yeah,
Gary is actually Gary. Nobody got his name right. It's like, yeah, you don't want that.
So I've missed a bunch. I don't know if we're still on the names or if it's okay for me to jump in with a different question. I am just wondering, I have missed you guys. I have not been here for forever. We started school before Labor Day, and my boss was out for the first 3 weeks, very sick with something else. So it's been a year already. But ECFE classes just started this last week. And I am so excited that all but one of our series classes is running. We've got waiting lists for our special events after. And I just want to know, like, are you guys all in the same boat and like feeling the love of ECFE coming back? Or are we just lucky here right now? And when I say like we're all running, we have 5 classes. It's not like a ton. We have 4 people in each one of the series classes that are running, but they're running and it's been so long. And so I'm wondering what are we seeing around the state? What are you guys seeing with who's coming to ECFE? And I am talking a lot with my hands today. So
I'm actually struggling with enrollment in 2 of my classes being super low. We talked about this a little bit last week, I think, but some of the classes are just awesome. And 2 of the classes I have that I actually really expected good attendance, I'm surprised that there isn't. Our evening class on Thursday nights, 2 families. And it's so hard to teach a group. And both last night and next week, there's only going to be 1 family there. With the early childhood teacher last night, we decided to not do parenting. It was my suggestion, not the early childhood teachers, but it was dad who's completely overwhelmed. They're getting married next week, and daughter was super, super clingy, and there was no one else there. And I was like, why don't we just play on the playground? Why don't we just hang out and talk? Because separating for 45 minutes is not going to help anyone tonight. So I felt a little like it wasn't really doing my job, but I also feel like part of my job is like seeing where parents are at and what they need. And I didn't think like talking about temperament one-on-one was what he needed last night. But so that's hard because it's like Thursday night. I don't know. When I was in St. Paul and did student teaching, I loved the nighttime classes because for so many people that was working families and the dynamic was totally different. You had kids who were used to being in daycare. You had parenting teams come, like both parents come, and it was awesome. And so I was so looking forward to this class, and it's just sad to me that it's so tiny and no one's coming and I don't know why. And then our other awesome classes, we offer a parent-child preschool where on Mondays it's regular ECFE, and on Wednesdays you just drop your child off. So they kind of get used to a preschool feel. And it's like, we've got like 3 families. I don't know. And it's just like, it's such a great option for if you're not quite ready for preschool, but you want a little bit more than once a week ECFE. And I'm not good at the outreach piece. I don't know how. I've put stuff out on like my Facebook page and stuff, but I don't know how to reach families. And so other than that, I feel like I'm feeling pretty excited about ECFE. I'm also a little overwhelmed by ELL, but the small classes, it's hard.
So you don't have a minimum. I'm sorry, I can't type in the chat. I'm using my phone. Everything fell apart over here. But if you don't have a minimum to run your classes? We have
Officially, we're supposed to. Officially, our minimum is 5, and post-COVID, I think we did cancel one class, but my boss, which I appreciate, is trying to keep us hired. Is trying to keep us, it's like, we said you would get this much work, and we really want to keep classes open. And the flip side of that, which it's great that they try to keep as many classes open as they can, is that we never know what we're teaching until like the week before parents arrive. Because it's like,
that's the way we have run for a while, because we've had such low enrollment consistently, like before COVID, and we used to do 3. And we've decided it's not really worth our time unless we can get 4 signed up, because we consistently had where other families were missing and we'd have 1 in there. So I like that experience of having 1 parent show up is something I have done a lot. And what we typically do, just in case it happens to you again, what we typically do is actually let them play. And then I lightly talk about the parenting topic. So they're still playing and whatever. And we were going to talk about temperament today. So, one of the big points of temperament is this. And I just wanted to let you know if you have any questions around that, and then we talk really lightly while the child is still playing and we're still in the EC room. So yeah, that's how we've done it.
I just wanted to chime in about our evening classes. We are in Roseville. And we used to have the most popular evening classes. We would offer them on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, and they were packed with a waiting list. And then obviously COVID came and we stopped all of the evening classes. And now we are offering evening classes now, and they are not filling at all. Like
I wonder if that's like a specific area in which families are hitting their wall of comfort being out in the real world. Do you know what I mean? Like, we already have to do daycare. We already are working in person. We're not going to add to that. Like, I'm just trying to figure out what the psychology is behind. It's an awesome class and it's a convenient time, why people aren't there.
I think part of me, this is what I tell myself. I have no idea if this is correct or not, but this is what I tell myself. I think having kind of a year and a half off of kind of a really crazy, after school, after daycare life, I think we found out that it's much better to just be home and just kind of hang out and not be crazy busy and jam pack our schedules and all of that. And I think that we're going to see, I don't know, again, what do I know? But I think that we're going to see a decrease in attendance in our evening classes, just because we are offering 3, like a Tuesday night, a Thursday night, and a Wednesday night. And we don't have attendance for any of that. So I think maybe families are just finding that balance.
Which is good. It's hard to argue against that, right? Like they're finding time they need together at home. That's awesome.
Right. Our day classes are going well. We have a really great participation all week long, which we're loving. Obviously, it gives us a job. But our thing is like how we can get out in the community more and advertise. We are trying to put on baby showers just to get the families who have newborns or really just birth to one, to introduce them to us, to let them know in the community that we're here to support them. We're having a hard time getting those early ones in. And I feel like probably for prior to COVID too, we've had a hard time getting infants in or just getting the word out about us. They usually come kind of end of toddlers and then 2s. Our 2 classes are jam-packed every day with a waiting list. I have always been like that. So we're just trying to get those babies in. So I was wondering what other people do, or if you all have an infant presence in your programs.
I will add, for Robbinsdale, we're a super big district. So we encompass 7 cities. There's 4 of them. Like we're 3 cities. We're Robbinsdale, Crystal, and New Hope, and then parts of Plymouth, Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, and Golden Valley. So we're huge. People wise, there's about 100,000 people that live within the district, and they say there's about 1,000 people of every age. So we know that the kids are out there. Some of our baby classes are low as well. I asked the question if everyone is receiving their birth data. We partner with Helping Us Grow. And so every family is receiving the mailing off of the birth data. And we know that that helps a lot. But I was going to say, because we're so big and we only have so many, we have limited classes that because of space and educators, we do have classes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday that are full in the evening. But our district, I'm worried about providing for them what they want and need in a quality way, because as someone else commented earlier, a lot of families come with 2 parents in the evening, and we're having classes with 30 bodies in the room. And it's not acceptable. It's we have families who have expressed the class is too full, especially in our baby room. I was given 8 and I said, wow, that for sure equals 16. Sometimes that can equal 24. And I think the educators here, to be very frank, we have some concern about that. But what we're being told is that the COVID numbers are, decreasing in our area, and that our district has not, that we're going with what the district is stating, that they've not put any, they've not said that we have to enroll a half-size class again this year. And so they're saying we're full steam ahead. But what I hear other people saying, like Megan, you said, parents are realizing like, yeah, maybe we don't want to head out in the evening, that kind of thing. I think for us, parents are realizing like, wait a minute, too many bodies. So that's kind of what I worry about too.
I would echo that, Nikki, that although it is super exciting to see that many of my classes are back to full at 12, we moved spaces from like in March when we all shut down in 2020. We were supposed to be packing to move to our brand new space. And so the district did pay for movers to come in and pack our classrooms for us. We each were given an hour to get all of our personal items out of our rooms and offices, and then the district packed everything else away. So this is actually our first time in our new building with our real full capacity, because last year we ran at half capacity. And we too, at times feel that a little discomfort with, this is a lot of bodies. And COVID aside, this is a lot of bodies in one room. And then you add the COVID factor into it. And then you have parents who are like, oh my goodness. I have had a few families drop out in that first week because of those concerns. Specifically in my 2s, the district has said that 2-year-olds and up, going with CDC guidelines, should be wearing masks, or required to wear masks in the building. And as we all know, 2-year-olds and masks can be fine or terrible. And so we are finding that balance, and we are talking to families and we're supporting families, but we have already lost a few. I try and remember from the district side and from like my coordinator side, when we're at full capacity, that means we're making enough money to keep our jobs. And so I try and remember the administrative side of it, but we too are kind of always like, there's a lot of people in the room. This is a little uncomfortable for everybody. But I'm hoping our families will stick with us. And I just remind families too that, all of our parents last year did a really awesome job of staying home when anybody had the sniffles. And we as a staff made sure that we were very, very thorough in our cleaning practices. And we did not have any COVID exposures in our ECFE program. And so I'm trying to remind parents that those health policies that have been in play well before COVID hit are still real. and can make or break, you know, all of us staying healthy this year. So it's hard though. It's hard when you have that many bodies in your room, because then the kids can't even like freely move and play.
I'd be curious too to know people's practices, different schools, and how you are addressing, like Naomi was saying about the masks and 2-year-olds, that is the same for our district. And right away out of the gate, you know, we've had the little masks for kids to color with crayons and, you know, give them these small exposures, and reading social stories and books, you know, bringing out Elmo with the mask and little things, you know, matching colors to a book in which the character is wearing a mask, or putting things in kids' hands. But how are you helping your kiddos and the parents to know, that this will grow, you know, their capacity to be comfortable and to wear the mask, and to not feel like, all right, if your kiddo doesn't wear the mask the whole time on the first day and they're out the door, kind of striking that balance, I think is a little tricky. And I'm so curious to know how people are navigating that.
We struggled a lot in the first week or two with parents or caregivers having masks for their kids. We did provide them at the building, but even just psychologically preparing their children for wearing masks. We also had the 2 and up rule, and ended up having enough trouble with it that, you know, I talked to my boss and she talked kind of to her boss, and we decided that ECFE kind of we're going to not include in the same guidelines for everybody else. And we just shifted it a little to say masks for 2 and up are strongly encouraged. All adults have to wear masks, and you really should be wearing a mask if you're 3 or up. So we kind of like gave that grace of that year. 2 felt just so little for learning to have something on their face, even though we know that some kids just totally can do it, right? And it's about getting used to it, but a lot of that has to do with parent attitude. So and I, in each of my classes, I just was real clear about, this is district policy. I am not interested in having the bulk of my job be policing you with masks. You're grown-ups. You know, can you please be considerate of other people's fears and anxieties about getting sick, and do your best to keep that in mind when you're making decisions. And focusing on, this is a good learning place, right? Little kids are learning how to sit in a circle. Little kids are learning to share. This can be something that they're learning to do. And I'm not going to be constantly being like, put your mask up. Oh, it's not over your nose. Like, I didn't want to take that on. So I just was like, my job is to let you know what the expectations are, and then your adults go. And I might get in trouble for that. I don't know, because I'm not like being the enforcer.
I have some social stories that a lot of our coaching teams have provided to us. So I have like 3 social stories that I'm handing out to my parents. And anytime I give parents a handout, I always remind them, with all books you're going to read to your children, please read this first. Make sure it goes with your family values, because I've had parents come in and have strong opposed to mask values. So I was like, if the book doesn't fit, don't read it. Do what you want. But social stories, and then I can put the link in the chat. Linda Johnson, who's one of our other parent educators, had found a really cool resource online, and we're working on paring it down. It's a really nice, thorough handout for parents, 7 pages long. So we are working on trying to figure out how to pare that down. But for my one class that really was struggling and I was dropping parents left and right, I did just send the whole 7-page handout to them and just said, review this if this is something that you're struggling with. because I had half my kids come in and they were wearing masks and it was wonderful and parents were fine. And then I had half my kids who were like, nope, get this thing off my face or I will not even touch it. So I can put the link to that one handout though, just so you know, it's 7 pages long.
I just posted, is there some, like a website for social stories? Nikki, is that the one that you, this NCPMI, is that they have like a page of social stories? Okay.
They also too have done a really great job in the last couple of years of changing all of their handouts to getting away from like board maker and character and actually inserting pictures of real people, because the research is showing that children who look at real people in pictures and social stories and handouts and things like that do better. So most of their stuff has transitioned to real people faces. I do have 2 social stories that I share that are like characters. But, and I can, those are PDFs. Can I put PDFs in the chat?
You can try. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
So I'm going to try and put a PDF in as well. There is the backpack connections. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those from Pyramid Model. There is one about how to use social stories to teach your child new skills and expectations. So it's just a little 1 page and a try this at home and practice this at school kind of thing. So I will try and share that in the link as well. But Pyramid Model and their backpack connection series is something that we send home through our preschool kids and would probably have some great ideas to relate, not probably, I know they do, I've used them to connect to early childhood as well in those earlier years. So.
Usually just an FYI, we're gonna reinvigorate our Google Doc sharing of the text. Okay, so after today's meeting, I will upload the text.
Thank you.
From chat into Google Doc, into the Google area again, okay?
Okay. Yeah, I checked last week and I didn't find one. I think.
Yeah, I know, I forget.
We didn't
So,
have
but there's so
much
many wonderful ideas.
there last week.
Well, there were no good ideas last week.
Yeah.
So, no, there were so many wonderful ideas today that the chat needs to be recognized, so.
Yeah, sure. Well, I have a question. Can I read my question for the group today? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we
Eugene,
can
go
hear you.
ahead.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm having a struggle right now because I'm taking my master's class, and this class requires 2 classroom observations for 2 papers assignments. And you know, I really struggle because I know this is the beginning of the semester. It's not a good time to ask people to observe the class. And I mean, I want to ask if you know some of your colleagues or someone who is teaching online parenting class that can allow me to observe. I need to observe 2 classes, and this assignment is is due like within 2 weeks for 2 assignments.
What's your due date?
One is due October 3rd, and another one is October 9th.
My online classes, unfortunately, don't start until that first week of October. I do teach, and I don't know what my enrollment is right now. Part of my job is with outreach. And so I teach specific just online parent discussions. So for example, on Friday next week, directly after this meeting, I will facilitate a discussion on potty training. And if I have enrollments, I am more than happy to have you just join in. And I don't know if that would fulfill your needs, but I don't typically mind if people just observe me.
Sir, my internet is, I cannot see you. Is it Naomi?
Yes,
Naomi?
I'm putting my
Yeah, thank
email
you.
address. I just put my
Oh,
email.
thank you.
You're welcome. Just send me an email, and if I have families enrolled, I have no
Yeah.
idea what my enrollment looks like right now. But if I have families
Okay.
enrolled, join on in.
Yeah.
Those are your requirements. I'm more than happy to have you.
Thank you so much. I will contact you through email. My fingers crossed. And Nikki, Nikki is helping me right now, see if I can observe her.